My name is Brad Sterl. Our company is Rustic Crust, and we manufacture a line of all natural and shelf-stable pizza crust products. No preservatives, no chemicals. We also manufacture a line of wood-fired frozen pizzas.
How long have you been in business and how many employees do you have?
We currently have about 75 employees, and we've been selling retail products to the grocery trade since about 2005.
How well did you know your business? I mean, were you an expert in your field?
I didn't know it at all when I started. I jumped in with 2 feet, kind of learned as I went. All the experiences of what to do wrong came first.
If you weren't an expert, how did you bring people to you that you needed to understand that?
I searched out the people that kind of had an idea what I wanted to do. You know, we developed a specialized plastic that had the equivalency of a tin foil that you could see through. And then I worked with other folks on the idea of how to make the product shelf stable. And it was just kind of a long process, and then went through testing to get it through the regulatory process to make sure that our claims were legitimate and we could sell them nationwide.
Was there a pivotal time when you felt like, okay, I've really got some traction now and it's going well for me?
For us, it was when I decided I raised venture capital. It was at the point when a lot of grocery chains started wanting our products, and I figured, okay, where's the money going to come from? I had all my money in and I needed more. And really that was the point where we saw that there was a demand for the products, and everybody really liked the product. And we saw the opportunity to really grow this across the country in a fast way.
How did you find investors, and how did you determine how much capital you even needed?
I did a lot of research on the investors that were interested in us and made sure they were aligned with what we wanted to do. You know, where we're organic and natural products, I tried to find folks that were interested in sustainability, organic, natural products, and it took a while to find the right fit. It's a process to find venture capital folks that their only interest isn't that bottom line, that big number. I have a friend of mine that did Match.com. He had his checklist on a spreadsheet, and it was kind of funny. I actually had a checklist for, as we talk to venture capital firms, and we went through conversations to kind of test them to see how they react to certain things. And for me, it was a relationship. I didn't necessarily have to get the money from anybody. I wanted to get the money from somebody that would fit and fit within the core of the company and the values that we had and the culture we had.
Growth and success can cover some mistakes and shortcomings. Do you think about that? Sometimes bigger doesn't mean better.
We've had our failures, and it was interesting with the folks that invested with us allowed us to grow probably slower than what some would have. And so we absorbed some of the mistakes early on as we transitioned from a small company to a mid-sized company, where now we're on the track to become a larger company. And I think if we had taken a big jump from small to really large, we could have failed due to just mistakes that have happened in the process.
How do you keep the reins? Because the instinct is to go from small to large. If the market's there and you suddenly have tapped upon something that really resonates.
It's tough. As an entrepreneur, we always want to keep growing and doing things. And since I actually brought in investors, it really helped me learn a little bit of control, so that I wasn't going after all these opportunities. A plan, and we really decided to follow that plan and grow along the lines of the plan, and try not just jump outside of that.
Can you talk about your experience in understanding your market, defining it, and then finding a product that fit?
We initially launched our products just because they were great products. And as time has gone on, we've been able to run focus groups and bring folks in and learn about their thoughts of our products and the category that we're in. And that's been really helpful for us. We've really expanded. We've learned really what they're looking for in the pizza category in the 2 spaces that we're in. And that research has been invaluable, especially as we kind of go to the next level where we're really competing against the larger players in the space. That we've learned a lot about their products and what the consumers think of their products, and what the consumer expects, and what the promise is, what they want the promise delivered.
Talk about pricing, because that's another. How did you determine that?
Our frozen pizza happens to be probably the most expensive frozen pizza in the country, but it's also the best frozen pizza. So we decided not to compete on price. We decided to compete on the quality of the product and the flavor, and the idea that people are going to try it. They might not buy it as often as they'll buy that cheap product that they just want when they're starving. but they'll buy this when they want to eat something that's good. It's good food that's good for you.
You know, what were the missteps? What were the mistakes that along the way that?
We had machines that didn't do what they were supposed to do, and for us, it didn't seal the product properly. It caused problems. We had companies that made our specialized plastic film that didn't meet the expectation and the standard. And you know what it did? It really allowed us to implement new standards as we grew. And if we had grown faster, it might have been a really big failure. It really could have been damaging. And fortunately, they were a learning process that we were able to use and learn as we went forward.
Can you give us a little bit of advice on how do you just, number one, create more entrepreneurs?
You know, I think networks are resources for the entrepreneur. Yeah, I know when I started when I was 20 years old, bought my first restaurant. And as I went through the process, it wasn't always easy for me to find a mentor or somebody that could offer me advice. And when I jumped into the retail business, it was a whole new world. And I was fortunate that I was able to reach out to anybody I thought could help me. And I think more opportunities or resources that entrepreneurs would feel comfortable to share the confidential side of their business, the problems and the process they have with somebody out there. There are opportunities through the SBA, but they're kind of outdated. It's a nice way to say it. And I think there needs to be other resources for people to come together in small groups or forums.
How much time do you spend thinking about the culture and sort of, you talked about your product and what the demands were for that, the standards you set for that, but what about the sort of the core principles and the culture that you want to create and maintain?
The culture was probably one of the most important things to me as we moved from a smaller company and grew and brought in investments. Getting the employees to really understand their value in the company, that they're all responsible for making our products and the success of the company. And when we brought this whole process through, I made sure I set a portion of this company aside for all my employees. And I make sure every day they know that. I make it a point to walk the floor of my company every day that I'm in the office. I'll go out there and talk to all the folks that are producing the products and remind them that they're making these great products. They're the ones that are going to make the success of the company, and that they have responsibilities to stop production should it not go right. And it's interesting because that whole culture took years to develop, and sometimes it's a struggle as you start to grow that you can forget about the culture. And we've gone to great lengths to maintain that, how the employees feel about the company, the communications, the transparency with our employees. A lot of companies don't do that.
What are some of the things that you feel like you can let run, I suppose, without your immediate attention? Then what are the things that you're spending your time on daily or even hourly?
As time's gone on, I've brought folks in that are really good on the operation side that allows me to be here, that I can walk away from the business and know that it's going to run day in, day out if I'm not there. And I've really looked now as we move to kind of our next level is our relationships with the folks that are buying our products, the key customers across the country that I think it's important they know who we are and what our company stands for, what our employees do. And these large consumer products companies, Nestle or whoever they may be, it's Nestle. The CEO is not going to go to Bentonville. They're not going to go to Minneapolis. Or they're just not going to do that. And we try to do that and build a relationship so they know who we are and what kind of a partner we can be and what resource we can be. And that's really where I've spent a lot of time. And I haven't given up my reins on that yet. But
when you look at your company today, do you see what's there or do you see what's missing?
I always look to see what we can improve and what's missing. But I look with a lot of excitement about what we've built in the last 7, 10 years, 12 years. And it's been exciting. And so I really try to always go back and think about the successes we've had. But at the same time, we always do look at those misses. Where are we missing to be successful 10 years or 20 years from now or 6 months from now? That's really important.